He's got 4 older brothers. They have
there he is, look.
All right. Just hang
there
on.
He is.
Don't get too excited.
I'm
Let's
getting
see.
a
Which way do I
drumroll.
work this thing? Hello.
Hey.
Hey, y'all, this is Lance. How y'all?
What's going on, mister?
Hey, you're
Not a
live.
whole lot. How y'all do?
Happier than a puppy with 2 Peters.
Yes. If I had to, I don't know what I'd do with it.
I think you'd have a lot of trouble with your girlfriend, that's what. She's already here keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, everybody's here. You've got lots of people in the chat room waiting to hear from you. There's Jay Davis, there's Jane Harlow, Kaylee Liz, Mark State, your lovely lady Jerese. There's absolutely loads of people, so say hello to everybody.
Can you understand the Brit all right?
I can understand everything you're saying perfectly.
See, I knew it.
I can't understand a word.
I'm trying to verse her in the English ways, and it don't seem to be working so well.
Well, good luck, buddy.
A little more of that Texas whoop ass, I think she'll be all right.
Give her a little more time.
So how are you tonight? You got time to chat for a little bit?
Oh, I got some time. Yeah, go right ahead. I'd love to chat with you.
Well, she already spilled the beans. She's on her way to see, and we don't interrupt anything, that might be going on later.
Well, you don't ever know.
There's times I don't want to know, but that's another story. So, what's the good word in the music scene? You doing all right? Looks like from some of the things I've been reading, you're climbing right up the charts there, huh?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of moving on the charts and getting a lot of airplay. Like good people like y'all for having us on your show and playing our music, and all the fans out there that support us, by shows or either on social media, and it's been awesome. We've been doing a lot of touring, and man, it's been a lot of fun.
Are you kidding me? We're tickled to death to have you here.
And your songs are great.
To be with y'all.
And Taillights and Dust is already my favorite. Them old redneck country boy backwoods kind of things. That's my kind of tune right there.
Yeah, that's a good old backwoods fun song, party song. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was telling Donna about going back into 2-lane old dirt roads and taking the girls out there and smoking and drinking and carrying on like a bunch of youngins.
Having a ball, wasn't you?
What's it like over there?
Good memories.
Oh hell, that's all I got left to live on. What's like where you live in Georgia? Backwoods, quiet kind of place? It says there's only about 1,000 people or so around where you live.
Well, the town that I grew up in is where my mom would have a restaurant there. But we were born and raised about 7 miles out of town there, and it's I'm a backwoods country boy, man. I love dirt roads and fishing and hunting.
Yes, sir.
That's my thing, and pretty women.
Okay, moving along. I ain't even going to that subject.
So some of these songs that we was listening to today, did you write those songs, or does somebody else write them for you?
That Tell Lights and Dust was wrote by Dean Sams, which is one of the members of Lone Star. And we were working on the record, and we kind of got bogged down in writing a lot of ballads and stuff like that. And it was a song that was pitched to us, and I just absolutely fell in love with the song, and I thought it'd be a great fit for the album. And because I've lived that story, and I've done those kind of things, so it's an easy fit for me, and we decided to do it, and I'm glad we did, because it's been a tremendous blessing for us for radio so far.
How'd you get into music? I mean,
I always loved music, and when I was like 8 years old, they had a part to sing in a Christmas play in my church, and I just, nobody else would do it, so I jumped up there and did it, and I've been singing ever since. And we started our first band in high school together, me and 3 friends of mine, and we all started playing, and a few of us are still playing, and I've been playing music ever since.
I always like the backstory. I think that's a lot more fun to listen to than some of the other stuff.
It's been an adventure, let's put it that way.
I do have a question from somebody in the chat room. Mark State is in the chat room, and he said, Lance, what is your take on the new bro country?
The bro country.
What is bro country?
I think it's interesting. It's and everybody asks me. I've had a lot of people ask me that question, because I'm really good friends with a Colt Ford, which is kind of a hip hop rapper or whatever, country rapper they call it or whatever. If it's good music, whether it's country, rock, pop, it don't make a darn to me. If it's good music, I like it. And anything to further the country music and keep it alive, I'm all for it. Hey, if it works for them, I'm happy for them.
That's what I'm saying. Whatever moves you, that's the key to the whole thing. That's
exactly right. It's all about the music. Whether or not it's got a backbeat or a loop or whatever, if it's a lyrically written great song, I love it.
What was it like the first time you got up in front of a large crowd to do your thing?
Well, the first time I played in front of a big crowd, I was a little bit nervous. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't. But I was hooked, back watching Garth Brooks live, man. And that's the whole thing. I love to play live, and it just turned me on watching him play, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do, and that's what we're doing.
Did you get that big chill factor?
Do it now?
Did you get that big chill factor first time you got up there and everybody stood up and went crazy?
It gives you goosebumps all up and down your arms and back, neck, everywhere you could get them, I believe. And, when the fans are there and they're come out to support you, and that means everything. It means the world to us.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm great, sitting here behind the mic and all that, but I'm not worth a crap when I get up in front of people. I just freeze.
You could do it.
Shit. All right.
I hear you're going to be cruising with Dave Summers very, very soon. Are you going to be performing on that cruise?
On the cruise, yeah. There's a thing that we're putting together, and with Carnival, and it's going to be an adventure there. It's going to be a 7-day cruise, and we're going to perform on the cruise ship for everybody. And we're just going to be out there having a good time.
Well, if Dave Summers is going to be there, you can guarantee it's going to be an adventure.
That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, great guy, great operation there. They take care of people like you wouldn't even believe. I mean, the things they go out of their way to do is amazing.
But just watch out for Dave, because he calls you up in the middle of the night with lots of heavy breathing and stuff. He's a bit weird like that. But other than that, he's a great guy.
I live on vampire hours anyway. I'm up late at night and go to sleep early in the morning. So I'm fine with that.
That's all right then. Maybe you can call him and do the heavy breathing.
You
doing a lot of recording now?
Yeah, I'm getting back in the studio coming up here shortly in the next week or so, and we're going to try to finish up some stuff that we've been working on, and I've got some brand new music that we're going to put out in the end of August, and I know everybody's chomping at the bits for it, and I'm looking forward to getting it out there for everybody to hear.
That's a good deal. Where do you record at? I don't mean necessarily the address, but I mean what part of the country?
In Nashville, and we're a bunch of guys. Dink is a guy that plays with a lot of artists. He's a guy playing the bass guitar on my newer stuff. But Dave McAvee is the guy helping me produce this newer part of my album. He's the drummer for Toby Keith. Me and him was working together. We worked together on a demo that I did a few years ago, and I told him whenever I got ready, we would get together and do some collaborating. And it's one of those things. Everybody's like, "Well, who you run into?" and all this kind of thing. Most of the time when I'm in town, I'm writing or recording and stuff like that. If we have a little time, I'll find out whoever my friends are in town that's playing somewhere, and we'll go out and support them. But I never really go out looking to run into somebody. And if you do, hey, I'm glad. I'm happy for it. It's a lot of fun. That town is a lot of fun, Nashville. If you've never been there, people, you need to check it out.
Oh, yes, sir. Amen to that, because that's a gorgeous place. I love getting down there in Music Row and hanging out with some of them crazy people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even the punk rockers run around down there. Back then, anyways. They used to surprise the hell out of me.
Hey,
really?
you have another question in the chat room. Mark State said, in your opinion, what is the end-all be-all got to be the best damn country song ever recorded? What is it?
The best country song that any artist has ever recorded country-wise.
Yep, in your opinion.
Well, everybody knows I'm a huge fan of all the the 80s and 90s country, but probably in the more modern realm, when I first started this song, I thought it was just a well-written song, one of the best written songs in probably the last 10 years, and that was In Color by Jamie Johnson. I think it's probably the best written song in the last 10 years to me.
Jamie Johnson?
Oh, yeah, Jamie Johnson, In Color.
Make sure I write that down. I'm going to find that and play it.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your daily life? Get up in the morning. What do you do with your day?
Well, it's just depending on what's going on. If we're touring, it's not a very early morning unless we're doing radio. Sleep in, because most of the time we're on the road, and it's 3 o'clock before everybody gets back to their rooms or back on the motorhome or whatever. And it's an interesting thing, But if I'm back home and when I'm off the road, man, it's I get up and go out and feed my dog and go out and maybe grab a pole and wet some hooks in the water and catch a few fish. And
wait, grab a pole?
I'll get up and go hunting. And that's what I normally do.
You're confusing the Brit already.
Rewind a bit. You grab a pole and what?
Wet some hooks, man. Drown some worms.
Wet some hooks? What are you talking
Drown
about?
some worms.
Drown some worms?
You ain't never been fishing, have you?
Fishing. I knew that all along.
Yeah, you did. You only know one worm. Hey, let me get to something that's important on my list over here.
Okay.
You a Ford pickup man?
Well, I'm not opposed to a Ford, but I'm a Chevrolet man.
All right, I knew that was coming. Damn country boys.
I'm a Chevrolet man, but now Ford makes an awesome vehicle. Now I've owned a few, and I've had great service out of all of the Fords and Chevrolets that I've owned. But I'm a Chevrolet fan.
Well, I just saw here that it said your first musical memories came through the speakers of Dad's '79 Ford. So I thought maybe that might have carried on too.
And that's those memories that I'll never forget. And I was always turned on by Chevrolet. I liked the way they looked, and I remember the first one I got was a '90 model Chevrolet Silverado, and I just ever since then, man, I've just been a Chevrolet man. What are you driving? A 4-wheel drive? Actually, I don't drive a 4-wheel drive. I drive a 2-wheel drive.
You're blowing the whole country image out of whack here. You know that, don't you?
Well, everybody's like, why don't you have a 4-wheel drive? I was like, man, if I had a 4-wheel drive, it'd be, I'm not going to take my nice truck out in the mud. If it's that muddy, I'll get on the 4-wheeler.
That's more like a city boy.
No, man, no. My money comes too hard to get out in the mud and tear it up.
Maybe that's what them city boys are doing. Buy all them fancy wheels and big tires and jack it up and make it look pretty. I'm not no
fancy wheels thing. My son's been on me. He's like, Dad, you need to get some rims for your truck. And I'm like, what's wrong with the ones that come on it from the factory?
That's right.
Yeah,
but you can see where he's going.
Yep.
Yeah, you also like Def Leppard and Poison, huh?
Because back when I got 4 brothers that are older than me, and I got 2 that are 13, right at 14 years older than me, and going to school and riding to school with them, I didn't have any choice to listen to all the hair bands and loved all the music. Poison, Rat, Def Leppard, Metallica, Cinderella, all those the great hair bands back in the 80s. And I guess that's what kind of intertwined to my style. I guess it's still country, but it's got a little bit of that influence in the background.
One of these truck drivers says the truck's meant for mud. We got lots of truck drivers tuning in, so you got a good audience here, too.
Yes, and I just want to say a quick hello to Sandy Fisher, and Christine Brown's coming here, and there's Janet from Oklahoma, Nicholas Rich as well, and Jane Harlow. Everybody's coming here to say hello to you. What have you got to say to these guys in the chat room?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite understand what you're saying.
Can you speak in English, please?
I will speak in English. I said there's lots of people in the chat room that's coming to see you, to say hello to you. Is there anything that you'd like to say to them?
Well, I would like to say thank you, and thanks for all the support. You don't know exactly how much it means to. Words can't express how much it means to us for all the support that they give us day in and day out, and all the help they do on social media with us. Without them, we'd just be playing music for ourselves.
You've what?
There's another question in the chat room from Mark. Who was it that found you and gave you your big break?
Oh, well, it's kind of hard to say. I always give everything that I do to the Lord, but I guess in the break in the music business, back about 6.5 years, 7 years ago, I met Colt Ford and got the opportunity to do a show open for him, and we just kind of become friends, and because he actually, let me open for him for several shows for about a year probably. And then he, being on the show with him, it got me in with Brantley Gilbert, doing some shows opening for him and Justin Moore and Luke and everybody. And I guess I'd have to say thanks to Colt Ford for being a friend and kind of let me do the opener for him.
When did you learn to play the guitar and sing? You got quite a talent there.
I was singing, like I said, when I was 8, and then when all my buddies in school, there were a couple guys played guitar, one guy played drums, and I'm like, I started a band, and I was just doing the singing thing, and I'm like, man, I need to play guitar. And so I started picking and playing them when I was around 14, 15 years old.
How long did it take you to get a grip on the guitar?
Well, it's one of those things, man, and that's why I try to tell a lot of, young kids and stuff that are like, I bought me a guitar, but, it's a little, hurts your fingers. You got to build those calluses on your fingers, and, you just got to bear with it. Anything worth doing is not easy, but it probably took me a good, 6, 7, 8 months to get a real good grip on it.
6 or 7, 8 months must be a natural then.
No, that ain't no natural. I'm a picker now. I'm a strummer. I'm not no big fancy player,
No, all right.
And do you have any hidden talents?
Hidden talents? Hidden talents. I don't know. You maybe should ask some of my fans, people that bet me. I don't know if I have any hidden talents, but because I'm pretty open there, I don't really leave anything to guess. Hidden talents. Well, a lot of people probably already know, but I played baseball back in high school, and I was a fairly good player.
Are you?
Wow.
I guess that would be my hidden talent. I guess.
You do any carpentry work on your own or anything like that?
I've done a little bit. I can lay some tile and maybe put a screen door together.
That's a step in the right direction. You're working on your second album, you said a little bit earlier?
Second album, we're just about finished with it. We got a few more things, a few more songs to cut and finish up. We've just been doing some, writing I've been writing and picking songs for about 2 years and trying to put this thing together. And everybody's been hounding me on my management side and stuff. But I'm like, y'all guys don't understand when I put this album out, when I'm done with it, I want people, when they buy it, to really think they got their money's worth. Because I don't want to put an album out that's a good album. I want a great album with, 10 great songs on it. Not 4 or 5 great songs. With
Absolutely.
Songs. I want them all to be great, and I want them to love every one of them.
Right.
And that way they're getting their money's worth. So that's why I've taken a little more time, and I want to make sure I get it right for one.
There's a release date of August. I guess that's this month. Is that still going to happen?
Yeah, we're actually. It looks like we're on track to put some new music out then, and we're running real close. I can tell you that.
You got any worries about the sophomore album curse?
Well, it is what it is. Everybody's like, do you want to sell a million records? I'm like, yeah, who wouldn't want to sell a million records? But my biggest goal is to, just keep on out on the road and be able to make a decent living and enjoy what we're doing, and people enjoy the music that we're putting out, and not really, harp on, we got to sell a million records. That's always something we'd love to do, but it's not our action. That's not something we got to do, and that's the way I look at it.
What are we looking at here? You keep pointing, and yours is highlighted.
Lance, when you opened for Brantley Gilbert, did he pull a prank on you? That's a question from Craig Wilson in the chat room.
What was the question about Brantley Gilbert?
Come on, tell him in English.
Where is it? When you opened for Brantley Gilbert, did he pull a prank on you?
Brantley didn't. It was back when Brantley was just breaking out too, and we were both kind of young and coming up. But Brantley's a super nice guy, and I'm really proud of all the success he's had. And everybody's like, man, you come from nowhere. I'm gonna tell you, that guy's been working hard for years and years and years. It just didn't happen overnight. I can promise you that. And everything he's getting, he deserves, because he's an awesome guy.
I guess Craig must have had the inside on him jerking your chain somewhere along the line there.
Well, there's a lot of those guys now, man. They get out and do those pranks, but I didn't get any pranking when we were out on the road together.
What's the story on the Stinson's barbecue? Is that still a family thing?
Yeah, still a family thing. It's
cool. Where's that at?
It's a cool little joint. It's in Lumber City, Georgia. It's in a little small town, but it's some really good stuff. They make their own sauce, and they cook the meat slow, and I mean, it's a lot of work. They put a lot of love in what they do.
What are you giggling about now over there?
Dave in the chat room says, can you ask Lance to get Donna to rip them wind chimes off? Can you hear my wind chimes?
Can you hear her wind chimes dingling in the background?
No, I didn't hear her wind chimes.
They're hanging in front of the air conditioner, and Dave is always ragging on about them wind chimes jingling in the background over there.
About the wind chimes.
That's my background music, man. When you're talking, we get that little fairy effect.
You get the mood set.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a mood setter.
Yeah, if you're a fairy, I guess. Always makes me think of Taylor Swift, because she looks like a little pixie with that funky little face she's got.
What's she got to do with my wind chime?
A pixie. Fairy, twinkly.
Oh, all right then.
Kind of twinkly, Never mind. Why don't you talk to the Brit a minute?
Jay Davis in the chat room says you want to find barbecue better. What's that?
You want to find barbecue what now?
Barbecue better. You want to find barbecue better. I don't know. Come on, Randy. Translate.
I don't understand the question. You want to find barbecue better?
You want to find barbecue better, or is he saying my mom and dad you can't find any better? Is that what he's saying?
I'm not quite sure. Jay, can you repeat the question?
And Janet in the chat room says you need to go to Oklahoma because they love you there.
Janet O'Connor says you need to go to Oklahoma City.
We would love to come to Oklahoma City. I know we've got some stuff working out in Texas, and if we can get some stuff right out of that way, man, I would love to go out that way.
Oh, if you're coming to Texas, you let us know.
Oh, I will, definitely. There's some stuff that's been in the works for a while, man, and I'm like, y'all guys, let's put that together, because I've never been to Texas. As far as I've been that way to Mississippi and Alabama, that's as far out that way I've been, and I would love to go out that way.
Oh hell, we got to get you to Lone Star then.
And I could make you a British cup of tea.
What?
I could make him a British cup of tea.
Donna says she'll make you a British cup of tea.
Are you having to translate
British cup of
everything?
tea? How about I'll bring you some sweet tea? How about that?
All right, then. That's
Now,
a
that's a
deal.
southern way to go right there. I'm waiting for one of them.
So
Use
we're...
a mason jar with ice. You got to have it that way.
Well, if you're bringing me something in a mason jar, don't bring me no sweet tea. You know what I'm fixing to see in that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's that fire water. I know what you're talking about.
That's right. 1 quart lasts about 6 months. At least it does for me, anyways.
Okay, can
Well.
you understand me, Lance? We have another question in the chat room, and I'll try and
Okay.
speak a bit slower here.
Yeah, you got to be right in the mic, though.
Oh, okay. How hard is it, as a new artist, getting your music out with the distribution model changing from album sales to internet sales?
Well, it's super. It's a lot different. It's a whole different animal, you know. And it's one of those things where you're going from, you know, when someone, you know, back in the day used to hear a song on the radio or whatever, and they were like, "Man, I love that song." And you had to go out and buy the whole album to get it. And you know, that's taking a lot of revenue out of the music, you know, itself. But the downloading it online just makes it so much easier for people to get your music, access your music, instead of having to get in their car and go all the way to the store and get it. They can just get on their phone or can get online and download it to their phone or iPad or computer. And, you know, it's actually, to me, you know, it's not bringing in the revenue that, you know, when you buy a whole album and stuff like that in the store back in the day, but it's making the music grow so much wider, and it's making artists like me and artists that, you know, that doesn't have the major record deals that can get their music out to people, you know, all over the world, you know.
Are you computer literate?
I can get around on one. I'm not one of those now. If it tears up, I can't worry. If you know, if it locks up or something, I ain't one of those to fix it. That's for sure. But I can get on it and do what I need to do.
Yeah, that's quite a way to go about. I mean, we do. You know, we have a little sign business and T-shirts and the radio show, of course, and pretty much everything we do is online on the internet.
Online.
I mean, we hardly ever use the phone for anything.
That's the way of the world, man. And you know, it's one of those things you just got to get on board and go on with it. You know.
I think Mark is writing a story about you or something.
He has lots of questions for you in the chat room.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he's just full of questions. Come on, Mark, bring them on.
Bring 'em on.
Bring 'em on.
Oh, what else did I want to talk to you about? I don't. I just like to yak. I don't care too much about some of that other stuff. Hell, you're a music
ahead.
maker. We know how all that works.
Do you know how to play any other musical instruments other than your guitar?
Do I play any other musical instrument?
Yes.
The guitar is about the only thing I could say I could play. I can beat on some drums, but I wouldn't, you know, want to play in front of anybody.
Why not? That's what the fun part is. Hell, you must have had fun strumming that guitar in front of everybody till you got a grip on it.
They would probably throw stuff at me if I was playing drums in front of them.
Not going to be joining Led Zeppelin anytime soon, then, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, I just. What do you do for fun? I mean, what do you do when you ain't in the studio?
I love just to be home, man, and there's nothing better to me than to hook the boat up to the truck and take it to the river. Me and my son, or you know, me and my girlfriend or whatever, get out in the boat and just spend the day at the river. You know, whether we catch anything or not, man, I just love being outdoors. You know, anything outdoors. It doesn't matter whether it's just riding, you know, on the 4-wheeler or truck down the dirt road or whatever. You know, but I just love being outdoors. When I have spare time, that's where you'll find me.
Are you home now?
I'm actually in Georgia right now, but I'm not actually at the house, but I'm at home. And I'm enjoying. I got a little bit of time off before we head up to Bristol, Tennessee we're doing the show at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and then we head up north for some shows, and we're looking forward to that too. And we're going to get busy on the road for the next month and a half.
Tell us about the Rhythm and Roots.
Ma'am?
Tell us about the Rhythm and Roots.
The Rhythm and Roots Festival?
Yeah. Christine's.
It's in Bristol, Tennessee. We're doing that this year for the first time. And it's a big downtown festival where it's Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia. You know, it joins together there. And they'd have a big festival every year, and we're doing 2 shows down there.
Wow.
He called you ma'am.
Ma'am. I know. I think that's the only word I understand from him.
I have to do that because my mom is listening, and whenever I get back, when I see her, if I didn't, she'd pop me for every time I didn't do that.
No wonder he's behaving.
Did you have to go out and pick your own willow switch?
You know, I have done that quite a few times. My mom has one of those deals, and actually she still does it at home with the grandkids, but she don't use it near as much as she did back with us. But she already had her switches in the house waiting on you.
Well, hi, Mom.
You know, she kept it by her chair at all times.
Yeah, you know? I got the plastic Hot Wheel track across the back of my legs. I only had to go pick a willow switch one time, and that was the only time, once.
Oh yeah, fly swatter. You know, I've been whooped a few times with them. It didn't hurt me none though at all.
What do you mean willow switch? Come on, Lance, help me out here.
There's a switch out in the yard. You go out and pick a switch, and you better pick a good one because she go get her own, and then she get twice as much whipping with it.
Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Okay, a willow tree.
Oh, okay.
You go out and pull the longest, skinniest little branch you can. You jerk it off, and it's like a whip, and it crack it across the back of your legs, buddy. And that shit talks some talk right there.
Sound like you're a good man, you know. So it's obviously done you some good. You know, some of these little shits nowadays, they get away with everything because you're not allowed to discipline your children.
You know, I think, you know, a lot of, I ain't saying you should beat your children or nothing like that.
Of course
I may get in trouble for what I'm about to say, but I think a lot of children today, you know, they're like, what's wrong with the kids today? I'm telling you, we wouldn't even thought about doing half the stuff these kids are doing today because we know we got our tails tore up and do something wrong. They'd whoop us and send us home, and then we get another whooping, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There's a difference between disciplining your children and beating them to death.
There's a lot of difference between discipline and beating one. I'm not one for beating a child or nothing like that. That's by far.
And let me guess, you didn't lose one bit of respect for him either, did you?
No, sir. I have plenty of respect for him.
Yes, sir.
And I still do to this day. My mom will still whoop me if I needed it.
That's why I was laughing a little earlier when you said she hadn't used it much. I figured you were still getting a little tap here and there.
Oh, yes, sir. You believe I get to the house and she'd be like, "That was so disrespectful."
That's what we love about moms. I get the same thing all the time.
You gotta love her. You gotta love her. My mom is an angel. She is one of my people that inspired me a lot when I was a kid. You know, she had a business and raised 5 boys and went through breast cancer and back in '84 and survived and beat it, and to this day she's still good to go, and you know, every day you see her with a smile on her face, you know.
Christine Lewis wants to know about competing in the finals for the Pepsi Gulf Coast Jam in Panama City coming up on Labor Day.
It is coming up on Labor Day. We are looking forward to it because I'll tell you, there's a lot of great music that's involved in that, and whether we win or lose, man, it's just we're there for the experience and get an opportunity to get in front of people and share our music, and that's what it's all about. It isn't about who wins and loses. It's about getting out there, and it's like a brotherhood. Everybody's there for, you know, just to share their music, and everybody, you get to see what everybody else has got going on.
Yeah, I never heard of that one, so I didn't know anything about that. Oh, Mark,
it's a big festival.
Mark State wants to know again, what's your thoughts on the resurgence of the '90s artists like Sammy Kershaw?
Well, I think Sammy Kershaw, man, I loved all his music and stuff back in the day, you know, and I think we need a little more of that stuff in today's music. I mean, there's some influences there mixed in and stuff, but you know, to me, some of the best music that was made, you know, was '80s and '90s country, you know, and not putting anything down, you know, I would. You know, everybody's like, you know, where do you class yourself with all the greats? And I'm like, I don't, because that's why they're the greats. You know, one day if I ever get that far, that's great. But I still would never say I was as good as Keith Whitley. You know, and it's just, you know, there'll never be another Keith Whitley. You know.
Well, Janet O'Connor wants to know, who is your favourite male and female country artist?
Favorite male and female? Well, you're gonna get me in trouble. Miranda, you know, I have several female, you know, and everybody's, you know, is like, well, who do you like? Who do you like? One that you'll probably know would be my favorite, be Miranda Lambert. But I've always been a huge fan of Rebecca Lynn Howard. She had a big hit back in, you know, late 2000s and early 2000s, and I just have always been a huge fan of her. She's wrote tons of songs. She's a big songwriter in town, and I just think she has one of the greatest, you know, voices that hadn't been heard, you know. But male, you know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of a lot of guys, but Craig Campbell would be my favorite because, you know, we grew up about 30 or 40 miles from each other, and we've known each other for years.
Yeah, I loved all those guys from the '90s, Sammy and Leroy Parnell, and geez, there's a whole list of them. Like Mark,
man,
who was that? Mark did Even the Man in the Moon. Mark Colley.
Yeah, Mark Colley.
Yeah, all those guys like that were good.
Absolutely.
I discovered them when I was trucking. They were on the Shell Rotella series. You got one every time you bought a 5-gallon bucket of oil from the truck stops. And I must have had 15 or 20 of those things. It's some of the best country music I'd ever heard in quite a while.
Awesome. Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things, man. It was all about the song, the lyrics. It's about the lyrics of the song, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with everything that's going on with the lyrics, like you were talking about the bro country, you know. But you know, it's just a lot younger audience than it was back then. you know, the younger kids, man, they want something with a beat that moves them, you know, and you know, if that's what turns them on, that's what turns them on, you know.
Is there anybody you'd like to see make a big comeback?
Oh man, I would love to see a lot of them make a comeback. You know, I've done a few shows with Doug Stone in the last 2 years, and man, you know, he's got a new album out, and you know, he's got a really good story, you know, and I think, you know, he sings as good today as he did, you know, back in the 80s and 90s.
You got any plans for going up north, like Ohio, up that way?
Yeah, September. What's happening?
We've got a show coming up in Ohio on the 25th of September, and it's in Canton, Ohio. It's at Jersey Sports Grill, All American Jersey Sports Grill in Canton, Ohio. We're looking forward to that, September 25th.
In Canton, of all places.
In Canton, Ohio. It'll be my first time being in Ohio. I've never been that far up.
Well, I've been born and raised up there, up east of Cleveland. I'm one of them damn Yankees, if you wanna.
Them dang Yankees.
Yeah, that's
Damn
no, I'm a damn Yankee.
Well, you know, everybody says, well, you're from the South, and we just did that. We know a month and a half or so ago, we did a big show up in the New England area. We did 5 shows up there, and everybody's like, well, how'd you like them Yankees? And I'm like, I enjoyed every person I met, man. You know, everybody's like, well, they're so different. They ain't. Well, the ones I met were no different than we were. I mean, you know, in Sunderland, Georgia, Sunderland, Massachusetts, you know, 90% of those guys that were in the club that night we were playing at, you know, you couldn't tell they were from Boston. They sound like, you know, Southern rednecks to me, you know. Well, and they like all the same things we do. It's big farming communities up there, man, and it's just, to me, you know, I enjoyed every day we were up there.
Well, I tell a lot of people that about, like, the folks in Jersey and New York and all that. People talk about how rude they are, but,
yeah,
you know, I've spent a lot of time in Jersey, and I tell you what, those people might come off as rude in the beginning, but I'll tell you what, if you need something, buddy, they'll bend over backwards for you.
Well, you know, it's just like everybody, all the guys back home here are all saying, you know, they're all rude and this and that and the other. I'm like, you know, the probably reason why they're rude to you is because you're rude to them. You always get what you give. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's the way I look at it.
That's just like topping that state trooper when he pulls you over.
That's exactly right, man. If you he ain't gonna help you if you're rude to him. That's for sure.
Nope.
Well, Kim Schmidt in the chat room asked if you are free on the 26th because they've got their out truck show in Perrysburg, wherever Perrysburg.
Perrysburg's in Ohio. It's up by Toledo.
Oh, okay. So if you're free on the 26th, get a hold of Kim Schmidt. She's in the chat room.
See, what was she saying now? I'm sorry.
Come on, in English.
Where is it now?
Translate.
Somebody wants to know if you're free on the 26th. There's a big truck show up in Perrysburg, Ohio. It's out there. It's up by Toledo.
The 26th. I'm actually open that day. I'm actually in the middle of talking to a guy about doing a hunt because bow season in Ohio starts on the 26th. But I'm having trouble getting me a tag to keep me.
What's that all about?
Right now,
I'm
trying to get me a deer hunt on the 26th because that's the day it comes in Ohio. But so far, I haven't had any luck getting a tag. This thing's, man, it's like a lottery up there. You may get one, you know, 3 years of applying for one. But, you know, it's one of, I would love to. I'm going to be up there. We might as well go ahead and check it out. That's for sure. Tell them to send the information to me online. We'll have to check it out.
All right. And if you had a chance to perform on stage with anybody right now, who would you pick?
Well, I'm a huge Hank Williams Jr. fan, man, and you know, that's one of the things, you know, one of the milestones for me. I would, you know, everybody's like, you know, who's the one guy that, you know, if you know, had a goal of who you wanted to, you know, get out and tour and open with, that would be Hank Williams Jr., you know.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder what he's like in real, you know, in person.
Well, I know the guy that does, you know, in the management company that does handle all this booking, man. He's like, you'll never know who you get, whether, you know, it's Bo Stevens or Hank, you know.
That's right. Is he a big guy? I mean, have you ever seen him up, you know, in person?
I've never seen him up close, but you know, from photos that I know, he's a friend of mine that met him and all. He looks like a pretty big, pretty stout guy.
That's one of the things I like about meeting most, you know, country stars or anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, just meeting them in person just for a few minutes, just to see what they're really like, because you really can learn a lot in those first few seconds. That's
right, because I mean, you know, you see them on their videos and stuff like that, and you know, and it's not their fault, but it's hard for you to really see who they are. You know what I mean? And you know, everybody's like, well, who's the nicest person you're on the road with? And you know, everybody was super nice to me. You know, I mean, everybody, you know, because they're just good old country boys, no matter where they're from. You know what I mean?
What do you? Here's one for you. Kelly Lee says, Mike from Massachusetts wants to know, and I'm kind of curious too, what do you think about groups like Hank 3?
Hank 3, you know, I think it's interesting. I think it's, he's doing his own thing, and he's not trying to be anything other than what he is. You know what I mean? That's just how he is, and that's how he sings. So I think that's he's doing what's true to him.
Yeah, I like his Mississippi Mud's one of my favorite ones.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's neat and it's interesting.
What about groups like Cross Canadian Ragweed?
Cross Canadian Ragweed, man. It's kind of like the Randy Rogers band. All those groups are super talented. Every guy in the whole group's talented. There's not a wink in the whole chain, but it's just one of those things, man. They're huge in Texas or back where they're from, but it's just hard for them to break out, and really do something nationwide.
Yeah, I always wondered about that, if it's their name or if it's the music. I mean, the music's great. I just don't understand what it is with some of those groups. The first time I heard of them was on XM Satellite before that got taken over. And
it's one of those things, man. It's just and it ain't because they're not working hard. Because I'm telling you, I know for sure the Randy Rogers band, man, them guys worked as hard as anybody in the music business, and it's just it's one of those things, I mean, they have a huge fan base and huge following, in Texas, and they sell out, places everywhere they go. But they come down like to Georgia or wherever, and they just can't get the reaction. The people just won't turn out for some reason for them.
What do you think about some of the songwriting mills in Nashville? You work with those guys, or you fight against them, or how's that go?
Well, say that again now. The songwriting what now?
How do you are you working with or fighting against using the songwriting mills in Nashville? That's from Mark.
Well, the biggest thing for me is I've got several friends that are big songwriters and stuff like that, and it's one of those things, man. And it's songwriters never get the credit that they're due. They never have. Just several few, break out, and get the recognition that they need. And, I'm all about the songwriter needs to get what they need to get, and the way I feel about it, and, a lot of people may say, oh, he's full of crap, but if I didn't write the song, I don't need any royalties from it, because I didn't write the song. Let's make sure the songwriter gets what he needs. You know what I mean? I'm out touring, making money, playing shows because of the songs. I don't see where, you should pay me royalties for just because I sang on the song,
How do you know, when you're looking over some songs or somebody brings you one, how do you know it's for you? I mean, do you sit down and just kind of go over it in your head a few times, or how do you figure that out?
I put a song in, and 9 times out of 10, it's one of those deals where you'll know whether or not it fits you or not. It's not that there's tons of songs that I've passed on and that have wound up getting cut by other artists, and I look at it and I'm like, man, I wish I'd have picked that one, but it just wasn't for me at the time, and it fits them a whole lot better. I kind of find out when I'm looking for a song, if I didn't write it, and I'm going through songs that have been pitched to us, it's got to be something that I can relate to, that I really believe in, and that I could sell when I'm on stage to the people that I perform for. It's got to be, an all-around about thing that just fits me, and it's got to be real.
Do you do cover songs as well, or is it songs that people have wrote for you, or
do you do cover songs?
Oh, I do tons of cover songs, man. We do some Conway Twitty and Nitty Gritty Dirt Band and some Garth Brooks, and tons of other stuff. Any stuff like Randy Houser. I did some shows with him, man, and I cover a song or two of his, maybe one of the shows when we're playing. But it's just one of those things. And I played, back in the day, we were a cover band for years, growing up as kids, and you're going to carry those with you. I'll throw a Bon Jovi tune in there, or maybe some Skinner,
Now, Skinner, we could do. That's some Southern rock right there. What
sure.
Janet O'Connor wants to know: would you be willing to do a show with a new female country artist?
I would love to. I love collaborating with other artists, whether they're established or unestablished. That's what it's all about. The outlaw thing back in the day. Willie and Waylon and Hank and all those guys. They all worked together and created something. And that's how they got to accomplish what they did back in the day.
You have any idea whatever happened to Eric Church? Eric
Church, man, I think he just got his own sound, and it's kind of hard to. And a lot of people give him a hard time about it doesn't sound like his old stuff. Well, he's trying to and this is what a lot of people don't understand. Once you have a very successful record and have a hit song or whatever, and it's built in instinct when you're with a label that they want you to outdo what you've already done. So you're steady trying to figure out how you can outdo what you've already done, and it's really hard to do. That's a really hard creature to overcome. To outdo a huge multi-week #1 song. That's really tough to do.
It's got to be, because it would seem to me that you get your style. You do your first album, people come to you. They love you because of your let's say your first song, three or four songs, and then you try to change your style, and people are like, well, that's not what I came here for.
Well, it's one of those things you have to be really careful about because, like I said, the whole reason you're out playing music and able to do what you do and make a living at what you do is because of fans, you know, and you've got to think about, you know, like we were talking a while ago in a song, if it's a song that I know that I don't believe in, that's not me, then how are my fans going to accept that for me? You know what I mean? They know who I am and what I do. You know, you can't sell something to them that they know you don't believe in.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people don't want to step out of their comfort zone either.
And you know, it's one of those things, and you kind of need to do it a little bit every once in a while. You got to step out the box a little bit, but just don't get completely out of the box. But, you know, sometimes you have to keep it fresh and keep it interesting, you know?
Well, that's right. Blonde, brunette, or redhead?
What's that now?
The question, blonde, brunette, or redhead?
Well, I'm a sucker for blonde.
That's what somebody else just said. They said blonde, his girlfriend's a beautiful blonde.
Oh, yeah. I'm always a sucker for blondes.
That was just a question. I just asked him, that's all.
Uh-oh, it's getting personal now. Mark
You
said...
can ask me anything you want. It's fine.
Mark said boxers or briefs.
Who says this now? Who's asking this?
Mark State wants to know boxers or briefs.
It's just going what day of the week it is. Sometimes I ain't got them washed and I don't have any on.
No, that's right.
I ain't got no panties on.
I don't know why he can't hear you. What's wrong with that thing?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, we've just turned it up a bit, but I feel like I'm shouting.
You got to holler at me. I can't. From down where I'm from, we holler. We don't, people saying, y'all holler or not. I said, this is how we talk. We talk loud.
Go on, you have something else? Anybody else got some questions there for Lance while we're talking to him? Nice to have you with us, too. The Yankee and the Brit Show, the RTM Radio Network, 812. Lance Stinson hanging out with us here. You got questions? Bring them on. Hey,
can you dance?
Can you dance?
Can I dance? Well, I'm one of those kind of things. I'm not big on public dancing, but I can. My girlfriend, we were in Vegas, and it was the last night there, and I convinced her to go into a dance club with me, and we had a great time. I don't think I've danced like that since I was in high school, but I can shake a leg.
Sounds like me. I'll slow dance, but the hell with the rest of that funky stuff.
Do you dance like a dad at a wedding or something? You know, pulling your shirt over your head and running around. You know, crazy dancing.
I'm more of like kind of that. I'm not going to get into the stanky leg or whatever they call that stuff, whipping it. And I got a teenage son, and he's like telling me all these things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It makes absolutely no sense. You know what I mean? The stanky leg. What is a stanky leg? It sounds like you need to go take a bath.
Oh, hell.
Your legs stink.
I look like one of those guys, one of those big, tall figures you see along the road with a fan. They blow them up, and they just stand there, and the arms wiggle in the air, you know?
Oh, that is so true.
Shut up.
Don Schmidt wants to know if Lance would like to fish on Lake Erie. Have I said that right? Erie?
Yeah.
Oh, Lake Erie. I would love to fish on Lake Erie.
I tell you what, the perch up there is awesome.
Anytime I can take advantage of fishing, I'm down. You just tell me where to be at and when.
You get some of that Lake Erie perch, I think you're going to like that.
I would love to.
What did you say?
I love fishing, period, so it doesn't matter. I'll fish anything.
What did you say? Grab your pole?
In Massachusetts, and I had a day in between shows there, and a friend I met there in Massachusetts took me fishing, and I caught my first striper, man, and I'm telling you, that was a lot of fun.
I'll bet.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Ask him again.
I said, did you grab your pole and wet your hook?
Grab my pole and what now?
wet your hook.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah.
She's just got a kick out of that, grabbing your pole and wet. Oh, you're insane. I swear to God.
I know.
Oh, man. Boy, it's great having you here. Janet O'Connor says that Whiskey's her favorite song. What do you think about that song? How'd you like that?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, that song was a song that a group two actually good friends of mine were written, and it was one of those songs that was pitched to me on the first album, and we were actually in the middle of finishing it up, and it just didn't make the we were just already done, and they were like, no, we're done, we're not cutting any more music. And I was with a record label at the time, and I'm like, didn't really have a lot of say so on that. So, and it just kind of got through to the wayside, and I love the song, and think it's an incredible song. Because I've been there and done that whole thing, and I can relate to that song. Being I got a divorce, I was married and divorced, and it was one of those things that come back around, and I think it's just fate for me to cut that song. And it's been a huge song for us out on the road, and everybody's loving that song because I think it's one of the songs that's very relatable and real.
Explain "Kick in the Teeth" country.
Man, it's one of those things it's hard to explain. I mean, it's not really hard to explain, but where it came from. Well, I was doing an interview and somebody was like, well, how can you explain your style of music? Because it's not traditional and it's not rock. And I was like, it's just kind of kick you in the teeth country. And it just kind of stuck. It was not one of those things planned or anything. It was just one of those, I guess, one-liners that just kind of stuck with me. But, it's kind of like I said earlier, I had the influences from, back with all the greats, and George Jones and Merle Haggard and Don Williams and Conway Twitty and all those guys. With my dad, when I was a kid, when he had an 8-track player in his truck, listening to them. And then they got my brothers riding to school with them, listening to the hair bands, and it's just kind of a mixture between two, because hair bands, man, they were rock. I mean, it was just kicking it like they were going to blow the doors off the place, and just I related as it was country with a little kick to it, so it's like kicking your teeth country.
Yeah, I like it. I think it sounds good.
How many songs do you work on before you pick out what's going on your albums? This is a question from Mark.
Do I go through? You know what you're saying?
Yeah, if you're picking songs for your album, how do you know which
it's
ones?
One of those kind of things, and writing music when I'm, writing like we have been trying to, write more music for this album that, than we did on my first album. And it's one of those things, man, you may write a great song today and you get in there and cut it and you're like, man, that's awesome. And then, a week later you write one that's just 10 times better and it just kind of bumps that one off. So it's kind of really hard to say, you just got to find the right songs that fit together. Because on an album, it's pretty much, I want it to be like telling a story. One song plays off the other one.
Yeah.
So it all comes together at the end,
Kelly Lee Phillips, she says, Lance does a lot of work performing for wounded warriors. Does he enjoy giving back to our veterans?
I love giving back to our veterans. My uncle that I was named after, I never got the opportunity to meet him because he got killed in the Korean War. And it's one of those things. I've got friends that are in the military, and a lot of them have served overseas, and it's one of those things, I would not be able to talk to you on the phone today or even play my music, even have a chance to play our music because, freedom's not free. There's a lot of men and women that have died for, years and years, and the ones that hadn't died that give their time, to keep us safe here in America. And without them, we wouldn't be doing it. So why wouldn't we want to give back to them? Everybody should.
You ought to run for president. We could use somebody that gives a shit.
I'll tell you what. I ain't gonna get into that because I'm one of those guys. I'm just pissed off about the whole situation. I think they should just scrap the whole Washington thing and start over.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. I'm all about that. But yeah, we won't get into that. What they've doing
for the last 20 years ain't working. Like my daddy always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it's been broke. It's time to fix it.
That's right. Yeah, I like to kind of stay away from the politics. I rant too much about it as it is.
I do too, and everybody's like, you got to be careful about it. And a lot of people's like, you're gonna get in trouble. I'm like, this is how I feel, and this is my right to feel this way.
Exactly.
You have the right to feel the way you do. I'm not going to sit here and bash you for the way you feel, so don't bash me for the way I feel.
Exactly. That's the freedom of speech.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't understand, though. I just irritates the hell out of me. Everybody likes to sit around and talk about it, but nobody wants to do anything about it.
Nobody gets nothing done. I mean, my thing is, if you spent half the time working on it than you do talking about it, we'd already be in a whole heap better situation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I want somebody that's going to get up there and do something. Let's quit talking about it. Show me something. Just don't talk about it. Just show me, and then we'll talk about it.
Janet says, Lance for president.
I believe I could do a better job than what's been done. I can promise you that.
Mr. President, what do you think about taxes?
Well, I think about taxes, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, and a lot of people I know are really not digging the whole idea. But I think a fair, flat tax on consumption. Everybody would pay the same thing. It doesn't matter, where you live, how much money you made. If you made $10 million, you should pay, $10,000 or whatever. Everybody should pay the same amount. Everybody's just, on a flat tax. And
fair
I think that would make
board.
it a lot better and a lot fairer. There's a lot of people out there that ain't paying a dime that should be paying taxes.
Fair across the board. That's right.
That's right. That way it's fair for everybody.
Do you need a personal Dean Dillon?
Do I need a what now?
Do you need a personal Dean Dillon?
No, I don't think I would.
I'm not quite sure what that question means, but
I'm a little confused about it too. I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I would or not.
I guess I don't even know what it means, period, so you're on your own on that one. Christine Lewis wants to know if you regret answering her message yet.
Do I regret answering her message? Now, who was it again?
Christine Lewis.
No, I don't regret answering anybody's message. Whether, it's Twitter, Facebook, or any kind of our social media platform that we've got. If you send me a question, I'm going to answer it now. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. It might not be what you want to hear, though.
Exactly.
Thank you, because she deserves that.
Absolutely.
What, are you going to be on Sirius or XM anytime in the near future?
We've been in a few conversations about that thing, and we're it's one of those things that's really hard. When you're an independent artist, there's so many of them that that get crammed in there, and it's kind of hard to get filtered in there. I just don't want us to get lost in the mix. I want us to do it at the right time, and I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I think a lot of people try to rush things too much, and you kind of get lost in the mix. I think we're going to do it. I'm very sure we will do it, but we're trying to make sure we do it at the right time,
Oh, Dean Dillon's a songwriter.
Well, I know Dean Dillon's a songwriter, but I was kind of confused. Do I want a Dean Dillon? Is that what he said, right?
Yeah.
Do I want a Dean Dillon? No, I mean, I'd love to have a guitar or something sometime, but I don't,
Yeah, I haven't heard of him, so I don't know nothing about that, but that was
Dean
the
Dillon was
explanation.
a huge songwriter, but Dean Dillon was more of kind of, he didn't really fit in a genre. He was just kind of, his own thing,
And Mark also wants to know, and Mark does a lot of video work. Is it okay to shoot a video of the show while he's on the cruise? Because he'll probably be on the cruise with you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
He'll get together with you, I'm sure. He's real good.
Absolutely.
He's good with that stuff. Does some nice work. All right.
So are we going to get on a tune? We'll put on one of Lance's tunes.
Yeah, of course. We'll let him go here in a second. We don't want to keep him all night. Your girlfriend show up yet?
Yeah, she's been around, hasn't she?
No, I meant, did she show up at his house yet?
Oh, yeah, she's heading your way, apparently.
Who's that now?
Your girlfriend. Jerice?
I hope she is.
She said she was. I don't know how far she was traveling, but she said she was headed your way.
Yeah, we have it's kind of one of those long distance relationship things. We try to get together, whenever we can, and when we're, it's one of those things. It's been very enjoyable, but it has its struggles. We live about 6.5 hours apart from each other.
Holy.
Hey, we managed it from 5,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Me and Randy.
We did it 5,000 miles apart. Hell, that ain't nothing.
Ooh, Lord, bless your heart, man. Bless your heart.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it took about 2 or 3 years before she got over here, but she's here now.
Oh,
she ain't getting away.
Oh.
You got 97,000 followers on social media.
You're nearly as popular as us.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
And I love each and every one of them, because I'm telling you, they have helped keep this machine going, and it takes everybody working together. Everybody's like, you've done this, you've done that, and I'm not, I have done, I've worked hard and I'm doing everything I can, but without all their help, man, it would not be possible. I'm telling you, people like y'all, the radio stuff, all the fans out there, this whole thing, everybody's like, when you come out with your new album, this is our album. It's about, the whole thing. It's not just me, you know what I mean? My dad, I've heard him say, and I've heard, older guys say back in the day, if you ever see a turtle on top of a pole, he didn't get there by himself. Somebody put him up there.
I've heard that before. What, Janet says her favorite color is camo. You got a favorite color?
Camo is her favorite color. Blue has always been my favorite color, but I do love camo. I do love me some good camo.
Me, I like clear.
You like... You want to keep it transparent, huh?
That's right. It ain't easy these days either.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
It's got to be purple for me.
What, you met Travis Tritt, right?
Well, I did do a show with Travis, and, Travis was from Georgia, and of course, he was a big influence on my music back in the day, and, man, I'm going to tell you, that guy is still got it. After all these years, everybody, you wonder about an artist after he's been, playing music on, professionally for 20-plus years, and you're like, man, I wonder if he still got it. I'm telling you, that guy rocks it as hard as he's ever rocked it still, man. I'm telling you. And,
what's he like as a person?
What? Super nice guy. He doesn't talk a whole lot, but his wife talks more than. I think she makes up the difference. But she is a social butterfly.
Uh-oh.
And they're both very nice, sweet people. That's for sure.
Christine, the one that asked you earlier, she had said she wondered if you regretted answering her email or her message. She's the one that contacted you to headline the cruise.
Oh, absolutely not, man. We're looking forward to it, and it's one of those things. I mean, I know Daryl Worley's done it. I know Daryl, and he loves them, man. And I'm like, dude, we had talked about, we'd love to do one, and hey, it come along, and I'm glad we're going to be able to do it. That's for sure.
What do you like the most? I mean, do you have a preference as far as music goes? I mean, do you like traditional country or,
Well, I love the 80s and 90s country, but, everybody's like, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? And a lot of people ask me, what you think about this guy or that guy and this girl. And I don't like, to be a critic on anybody because, I'm not the greatest singer in the world. I've never claimed to be and never will. I mean, everybody's like, oh, you're the greatest. I could go in town, Nashville, there and show you 1,000 guys and girls that could sing standing on their head, better than me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, man. I'm just glad I've been able to do what I love to do, and it's just one of those things. But I would have to say, Keith Whitley was always my favorite singer and songwriter, and to this day he still is.
I had mentioned that you had 97,000 or so followers. Were you surprised by that when you saw that? I was always a big MySpace guy back in the day, and then everything went over to Facebook, and I finally got used to using Facebook real well, and then this Twitter came out, and I'm like, man, and I got on Twitter, and it was like speaking Spanish to me, and I'm like, I don't understand this at all, and it has taken, I'm just old poor country boy. I ain't got no big big college education or nothing. And I was like, I ain't gonna be able to figure this out. It's taken me a lot of time to figure it out. But I'm telling you, our Twitter has blown up in the last year and a half, and it is amazing at the response that we get, on social media, whether it's Twitter, or Instagram, or Facebook, or and stuff like that, Reverb Nation. And it's a blessing that that people actually want to be a part of what we're doing, and I'm glad that they do, and we love every one of them. Well, I'd like to thank all the Twitter listeners that might be tuning in tonight. Also, it's 8:28. We're on the phone with Lance Stinson. The guy is awesome. Go check his tunes out. You're going to love him. It's the Yankee and the Brit on the RTM Radio Network. We're just having a hell of a good time here with this man. Just can't beat it. Good old country boy, I can tell you that much.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to add over there? We got him for about an hour. Let's let him go here so he can go back and have a life.
Well, we do have another question in the chat room. Kim Speller wants to know, Cash, Waylon, or Willie?
Cash, Waylon, or Willie? I love me some Cash, but I am a Cash, Willie, or Waylon. I'm a big Waylon Jennings fan. It's kind of hard to pick between, those guys because they're all awesome and they all have their own little sound and stuff. But Waylon, to me, I can just relate with him a lot more. His music and the way he's lyrically written and stuff like that. I love me some Waylon. I love some Johnny, and I love Willie too, man.
I just fell back in love with Willie again because it's all going to pot.
That's sure.
That's my kind of tune right there, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
Oh, that's my boy, man. I went to the fuel stop. He bought Carl's Corners here in Texas years ago, and he started selling that biodiesel fuel for the trucks. And a lot of guys started flocking in there thinking they were going to go in there to a big pot party or something. It didn't turn out that way, but it was pretty cool having him around the area, doing something for everybody.
Well, it's great that he would do that kind of thing, and I wish it would. There's got to be ways and the stuff to get us away from all this foreign fuel that we consume every day. You know what I mean? There's got to be a better way. And I'm sure sooner or later we're gonna find it.
There are better ways, but it's the money.
It is. It's what it's all about. I mean, I was in the car business for 9.5 years, and I was a finance guy for car dealer for a Dodge manufacturer. This has been, 11, 12 years ago, and we were sitting there talking with the rep, and he was like, and they've got cars that get better gas mileage. It's just a political thing, man. And it's all about that almighty dollar.
You mind if we ask how old you are?
Well, I just had a birthday, and I'm proud to say I'm 36 years old.
Oh, very good. Hell, you're still young.
Same age as me.
Oh,
well,
Mickey Mantle says he's going to live this long. He took better care of himself.
Yeah. Well, you're the same age as the Brit, so you guys already got something in common.
Oh, awesome.
Not that you can understand each other.
No.
You have a translation book that comes along with you?
It's about 2,500 pages.
It took Randy 3
You
years.
feel the same about me, though.
Yes.
There's also a subpart to it too. It goes on and on.
Well, you know, when me and Randy first started talking to each other on webcam, you know, we'd be talking about something, and he'd be talking about the garden tap, for example, and he'd be talking about a faucet, and I'd be like, faucet? What the hell's a faucet? Okay. And we just cut each other up in the middle of conversations to say, did you just say door? What's a door?
I had to explain to her what a faucet was. Then I had to give her the spigot. Then I had to tell her it's a water tap, and the list went on and on until it finally made sense to her what the hell I was going on about.
Yeah, well, you know, we call them, you know, everybody, you know, saying, what are you talking about, a water hose? We don't call it, everybody's like, that's a garden hose. I'm like, no, it ain't no garden hose, it's a water hose.
That's a water hose. We used to drink out of them.
It's a garden hose.
You know?
I still drink out of them.
And everybody, you know, made a big deal out of it. I'm like, man, if that was harmful, I've got 4 brothers, and we all drink out of the faucet, out of the garden hose. You know what I mean? And everybody calls it garden hose. And I'm like, no, we drink out of a water hose, is what we call it. Because I have been deep with a water hose. I know what a water hose is. You know?
Dave wants you to say router.
Router.
Oh, my God, this is too much. Let's let him get off the phone so he can go have a life
I
again.
say tomato, you say tomato.
Well, I want to thank y'all for everything you do, not just for me, but for everybody out there. I do appreciate it.
Man, it's fantastic having you come by. You know, I got to tell you, too, I got to be honest with you. When I first looked at your web page and pulled up some of your photos and was checking them out, I was like, man, that dude don't smile. He looks like he's going to be a cranky son of a bitch.
You know, you got to have that serious look, man. That
No,
look, you know, that serious look.
Well, I apologize for that because you just blew the whole thing out of the water. You're a hell of a nice guy, man.
Well-
We're tickled to death to have you call in and talk with us for a little while.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I'd love to do it anytime you want me to.
Well, Christine's got one more question. Come on, get it out, woman.
Come on, Christine, we're just dying to know.
Lance, would you like to make your fan cruise a yearly event?
You know, I would love to if they'd have me. That's for sure.
I bet they will. You work with Christine and Dave especially, and I'm telling you, they'll set you up.
I would love to. We can make it an annual thing. That would be awesome.
And Mrs. Dave said thanks for coming by and putting up with us.
Oh, man, thank y'all. I really do appreciate y'all having me. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, make sure you call her Giggles when you see her, too. That's Dave's wife.
Giggles?
Yeah.
I'll remember that. I'm making me a note right now of Giggles. I got you.
There, I got one on you, Christy. Yankee and the Brit, the RTM Radio Network, thank you ever so much for coming by and hanging out with us.
Yes, and you're welcome anytime on this.
Why don't you,
show.
if you like, if you were talking about some little promos and that earlier, why don't you call tomorrow if you got some time or something?
I'll do it. I'll definitely do it, and we'll do some liners for you.
Sounds like a plan, man.
I'd be glad to. I'd love to.
Ah, that's what he was saying. He was saying liners.
Yeah.
Ah, you know when you called up earlier, I thought you said lanyards. I thought David sent you.
She thought you were talking about lanyards, you know, like you hang around your neck and all that.
Like your neck, yeah. I'm like, what? She's like, I bet she was like, what do you need them for? You're on the telephone.
She can be a hoot, that's for sure. I'm trying to put the country in the Brit.
Not happening.
Yeah, I know it's not happening.
happening.
Oh, yeah, he couldn't hear anything else, but he heard that.
I know, I think he's got selective hearing.
Just like my grandma. She'll hear what she wants to hear.
I have that selective hearing.
All right, man, go on, get yourself a life. We'll talk to you later. Appreciate it, man. It's just been a hell of a good time.
Thank you for having me again, and everybody, God bless you out there. Thank y'all for following us.
Everybody, Lance Stinson on the RTM Radio Network. Thanks again. Let's hit one of his tunes here, Whiskey, on the RTM Radio Network with the Yankee and the Brit, the RTM Radio Nitwits.
At the bar, looking at myself in the mirror, when the bartender poured me one more shot.